Want to make more money doing home improvement sales? Over the past 35 years, I've been in more than 16,000 homes selling home improvements and have trained and managed literally thousands of salespeople. The skill you want to be at the top of your game, translation becoming a millionaire in this business, is to learn to sell at will. I used to think that some people buy and others won't, and it was a numbers game or like a sales lotto. Boy, was I wrong. In this video, I'll show you what I do that has helped me learn to sell at will. If you like these type of videos, please subscribe to help me and check out the link for more free training listed in the description below. Here are 4 things I do that help me sell at will. Please listen to all 4 so you won't miss anything. The first thing is to stop the non-beliefs. Stop believing in the things that keep you from selling everyone. A lot of these beliefs come from what the customers say or things you believe about certain types of customers. You believe that you won't sell certain types of customers, and by that I include anything from nationalities, customers that won't spend or can't afford to pay the price you're asking, and customers that have certain buying patterns such as always having to get 3 estimates and never buying the first night. The common denominator is that these are perceptions not based on fact. The point is that you don't believe everyone can be sold. These belief systems are really just excuses for why you fail or don't make the money you deserve. Again, it's not the customer, it's you. If you think about it, all of these beliefs are a form of pre-qualifying the customer. I honestly believe with every fiber in my being that everyone can be sold. I just can't sell everyone. Yet. Now hopefully you don't amplify these thoughts with what I feel is the biggest sign of a weak salesperson, which is when they say, well, nobody could have sold them. Never say that. Are you the greatest salesperson that ever walked the face of the earth? I'm good, but I'm sure there are people 10 times better than me. I refuse to justify failure with a comment like that. Think of those things you may believe in. Has that non-buyer ever violated any of those beliefs? Do you actually think that the customer who says, I don't finance, has never financed anything, including cars and houses? Do you believe that the customer who says, I always get 3 estimates, has done that on every single purchase they've made in their life? Has that customer ever spent more than they wanted to spend or spent more on something that they thought it was going to be? Of course they have. So when you start thinking these things, or when the customer says them and you believe it, guess what happens? The self-fulfilling prophecy becomes true. So when it comes to your lead, like life, a good rule of thumb is not to think anything you don't want to be true. They say that someone's closed in every home. If the customer starts to say things like that and you believe them, you're closed. What's worse is when they don't say anything and you actually start to create these negative thoughts all by yourself. The second big skill you have to learn to get good enough to sell at will is that you have the ability to go through all the steps every time. If you aren't going through every step every time, you're leaving out things that will keep you from having the best chance of selling everyone. Unless your company's sales presentation is horrible, there's a reason for each step. You can't skip any because when you do, your chances of selling drop. Master salespeople never skip a step. When you're new and not strong enough to control the situation, you'll skip or skim over steps. You have to be able to rapport and control anyone. I call it a skill, but it's a lot of things. The ability to be strong enough not to deviate from your steps. Whether they say, I don't want a sales presentation, I only have 10 minutes, I don't want to hear any of that, I just want to get the price. If you can't get past that, or they cause you to change the order of how you go through things, you aren't doing your job, you need to get better. People don't realize how the order of what you say is just as important as the step itself. For example, you may sell your company differently based on the customer. It may be quicker if they're a driver and longer if they're an analytical, but the point is that during that step, you sell them when doing business with your company. What's more important is that the step of selling your company is done at the same place in your presentation. The order of your selling steps is a big key. For example, you give the price last for a reason. First, you have to sell them and build value in what you offer. After that, you give them the price and they can see if it's worth it. So if you give them the price first, they may not even want to hear about your product, let alone let you build value in it. The steps in your system may vary in speed and detail, but get good enough that you never skip anything or break sequence. We went over some things of what not to believe, but now let's go over what you have to believe. The third thing to be able to sell at will is that you have to truly believe that you can sell at will. It has nothing to do with the customers, but it has everything to do with you. That you believe you can sell 100% of everyone you see. That when you go, in your heart, you know your chances of making a sale are 100%. I know some of you are thinking, how can you say that? Yes, the logic in me says that 100% closing may not be possible, but to achieve greatness, you have to believe it can be done and work on yourself to get there. Remember, most limitations are based on your belief system. Therefore, most limitations are self-imposed. The upside is that even if you can't sell 100%, you'll have a better chance of hitting 80% closing if you set your target at 100%. If you set your target at 50% closing, you'll never hit 80%. Regardless of what your closing is now, you have to increase your skill set to increase your results. How does a professional athlete go from amateur circuits to winning the Olympics? They practice and get better and better. Sales is the same thing. Belief is important, but never forget that you have to be really good to sell at will. Put in the dues like an athlete by training and practicing. You will feel yourself getting stronger and better every day. Competence builds confidence, and confidence builds an attitude of I can do it. Attitude and competence will lead to more sales. You can't fake being good. To sell 100%, you have to be really good. In this type of sales, every little thing counts. You can lose an order after being in someone's home for 2 hours with one sentence. Your game has to be on that level that in 2 hours you don't make any mistakes. Getting better will keep you more consistent. Consistency is greatness. Anyone can have a great month. Doing it over and over is the key to long-term success. The fourth skill set of being able to sell at will is to be able to make sure you can consistently be in the right frame of mind. To me, this is a frame of mind where your attitude is great and you're focused. I call it being in the zone. If you've been in this business for a while, I'm sure you felt those moments where it seems so easy and everyone's buying. You're in the zone. How much money would you make if you were in the zone every time? The first part of being in the zone is that your attitude is right. That's why in this business you notice that new salespeople always sell. They don't know what they're doing, they don't know what they're selling, and aren't yet expert closers, but they sell. That's because they're doing most of what we just discussed. They're going in the home expecting to sell, and that it's going to be easy because they just got out of training, and that's what their sales manager told them. Their attitude is great because it's new and they're having fun meeting people in their home. That's also because when they're new, they don't have the non-beliefs. They haven't learned yet that these type of people never buy. They haven't become jaded and think thoughts like, well, this is going to be a waste of my time. So learn to make sure that the attitude part of being in the zone is right. I'm very aware of my attitude. So if it's off to me, it's like I'm only wearing one shoe. One thing that experience has taught me is that I can recognize when my attitude is not where it should be, and then I know the right fix or medicine for it. I know when I'm too aggressive and that I need to tone it down so I don't try too hard and come across as desperate. I do that by thinking before I go in the home that I don't really care whether I make a sale or not, that I get paid just the same whether they buy or not, that I'm just there to see what their problem is and try to help them solve it with my product. Most important of all, I'm going to have fun. Or I may feel weak going into the home, where I actually would be glad if it was a no-show. Then I need to read or listen to motivational material such as Les Brown or Grant Cardone. Or I might need to do my affirmations or revisit my goals and why I'm doing this to get me pumped up again. Maybe I just put on some good jams on Spotify. Whatever you do, the point is you recognize if your attitude is poor and can fix it before you go in. To have a good attitude consistently, what helps me is that I can put myself into the right attitude, or what Tony Robbins calls your state. I do this either by a pre-game ritual, which may include listening to motivational stuff, or something I do before I go into the home that puts me in the right state of mind. Eventually, it got to the point that when I walked up to the home and the way I said, "Hi," it put me right there. It sounds weird, but for me, it works. Ever notice that when Michael Jordan got off the bus going to a game that he always had earbuds on listening to something? What he was listening to was a compilation of his greatest hits edited. He shoots, he scores, and wins the game again with 1 second on the clock. Now, if he does things like that, how can you think that you're too good to do that? The other part of being in the zone is that you're 100% focused on helping the customer and what you're doing. When I'm in the zone, there could be an earthquake and I wouldn't notice because I'm 100% in the moment. Make sure you're in the zone so you're strong, positive, and focused on every single lead you run. You want to learn to be able to turn it on when you enter the home and turn it off when you're done. You can't be up 24/7 or it'll burn you out. Look at your attitude like a superpower, but can only be used for a short burst at a time. So stop all of the non-beliefs, always follow the system, and don't skip anything. Believe you can sell anyone and learn to be in the zone consistently, and you will become an unstoppable force. Correction, rich unstoppable force. Now, if you want more of this, please listen to the video on Are You Taking Responsibility or the playlist on home improvement sales closing listed above. Happy selling!